How you doing? What's up, beautiful star fam? Welcome back. Just taking some of this good energy today and giving it to you because you deserve it. And I got a question for you. Have you ever felt like you're not from here? Like you really just don't belong? Did you grow up feeling like an outcast? Maybe you didn't really talk to people very much because you felt like the conversation wouldn't be interesting enough for you, and you just didn't resonate with what everybody was talking about in this world that you do not recognize. Is that you? Do you ever feel like you were meant to do something magnificent, something so great? You have a great purpose, but you just don't know what it is yet? But you've always known, even since you were young? Well, you might just be a starseed. Let me tell you what that is. To put it simply, a starseed is someone who came from a different star system or a different solar system. Now, each star has its own little system, and we can see all these stars in the sky. Maybe not if you're living in the city, obviously, but you can see a few stars, and the fact that they're so bright just tells you how powerful they are, and the fact that they're so far away and you can see them is just something to contemplate because, wow, yeah, it's really powerful. That light reaches us. So think about this. Um, to really explain what a star seed is, or a star being, because we are all actually star beings, we're made of stardust. So the term star seed is specifically referring to people that are from a different star system than this system, the Earth's solar system. There's also Earthlings, which are people that have been born into Earth. This is their first time, or maybe they've always been here and they were born from this sun. And to really explain how this works, we'll have to go back to the beginning of time and the beginning of the universe and contemplate, was there ever really a beginning? Because everything's a kind of a paradox. We're existing and non-existing at the same time. To say yes to one instant is to say yes to all of existence, and that's because we have free will and choice and love, and we want to expand. Consciousness, or God, in the beginning was just one whole consciousness together. It wasn't separate, and nothing is separate now, but in essence, it was the beginning of creation, and it started out as just nothingness, just a thought. Maybe it just started out as a thought, right? And then it became interested, curious to know more. And so it spread out and it started creating through this love that it felt through the curiosity, because for someone like me, I love being curious and learning more. Not too curious, of course, but I just love to take in all this information and expand, and that's because my planet is Jupiter. I'm a Sagittarius, double Sagittarius actually. So always expanding, and that's exactly what the universe is doing, constantly expanding. And it was like a big bang. So science was right. All of these theories were right. There's truth to everything. You just got to put it all together and figure out what makes sense to you, because your belief system is going to create your own reality, but together we are also co-creating this reality. God, when it separated, that big bang, it created everything. Everything was created, one thing after another, maybe all at once. So initially, we all came from this God source energy, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it. If that helps you understand things better, then that's fine. I love words. I don't like to use words that confine things, though. I like to find terms that are a little more open to just being freer and more understanding. And it's not such a preconception. You don't think about this word and you get an idea right away, like what it's supposed to be exactly, because it might not fit into that box exactly. So I love wordplay. I love trying to find the right words to explain things, and I'm probably not going to do the best job of explaining this because this is really something that's very new. Um, I think since 1970s, somebody, I forgot who. I think maybe Dolores. Somebody I forgot her name, but I think she started writing about the star seeds. I'm not too sure exactly how it started. I wanted to find that information, but it's a little harder to find. What I do know is that a lot of it is based off of like Edgar Casey's predictions as well, and he actually knew the Arcturians, and like he literally knew everything because he could tap into the Akashic records, and he would do that through hypnosis. He would hypnotize himself and go into this dream state, but also a sort of awakened state where he can still communicate. And it's something so trippy, but so many people have been talking about this. It's not just one source. It may have started from one place, but at the same time, so many different people have been experiencing interactions with aliens or star seeds and understanding that they are star seeds. So basically, when you when God expanded into everything, its spirit split. So we have free will, each one of us, but we're all sparks of God's source. So there is also a divine plan. There is also some sort of fate, but that fate is based on a divine will, a divine order. Everything is happening in a divine order. So there's a lot of things that are meant to be, but at the same time, we can change things individually because we are co creating this reality. So it just depends on what you want to create. So just think about all of our different personalities put together. That makes this perfect being. And separate, we're not perfect, but together we are better. We're better together, and that's why teamwork always works better. And when people come together, it's a lot easier to do things rather than just doing it by yourself. And we all know that. I mean, just trying to lift something by yourself, 10 times easier when you have two extra hands and you have that balance, that weight getting balanced out. We are an organism living on an organism inside of an organism inside of an organism, and we have organisms inside of us. So, like, the universe is this huge thing, right, to us in our perception. And everything in the universe reflects into this physical realm as well, into all of the dimensions. The universe reflects everything. Everything that is God, everything that is the universe reflects here onto the earth, onto us. And we are basically living out this cosmic story. And the stars will tell us the story before it even happens sometimes. It's like it's already written in the stars. And all this knowledge is out there. We just have to take the time, quiet our minds, and dive in, try to find it. And I'm going to help you find out what your starseed is. If you are a starseed from a different planet or a different solar system. So basically, this is not easy to explain. There was 3 waves of starseeds that came to the planet in the last 50 years. Starseeds have been coming and coming, and there's 3 main categories. There's the old soul starseeds, there's the new starseeds, and the typical starseeds. So if you've ever been called an old soul, that's probably you. You're an old soul starseed. You might be an Arcturian, a Pleiadian, or you might be from Sirius, Syrian. And there's a few other old soul starseeds, but it just depends. Um, there's different races of alien species basically, but they live in a higher dimension. So they live in all dimensions really, and they can interdimensionally travel whenever they want to because they're highly evolved beings. They've become light beings. Most of them live in the 5D realm and angelic realm, and they basically are angels, but we would call them aliens. But in essence, they are angels, and our soul is just a spark of God. So in your heart, you have this little flame, but your soul is just what you are, your true essence, your spirit, the flame that comes around. So in here is your soul. This flame that comes around is your spirit. This is what drives your soul. This is what your love, your passion, this is what makes you move forward. This is what gives you motivation. This is what your spirit is, what you want to express, how you express yourself. It's your personality. So we all have these different personalities because we were born under different stars. So it's my opinion that when the earth rotates and we're born at an exact moment that a star passes over us, I believe that we come down from that star into the body, and that's what it is. We are all star beings. Star seeds is a term that people use for somebody that's from a different star system than this one. I'm from the Arcturus solar system, and I believe the Pleiadians are part of that system as well. We are one of the most ancient civilizations, races, whatever you want to call it, and we are also the most, probably one of the most powerful. The Arcturians have very strong spiritual pressure, and all of this stuff I've been reading lately, and it's just been reaffirming for me. So you can check out moonomens.com, and they have 3 articles, very short, very simple to understand. The first one is what is a starseed. Second one is the 3 different categories: old, new, and typical. And then the last article goes through more specific starseeds like light workers, Atlanteans, Lemurians, Andromedans, different galaxies and different star systems that you may have come from. But there's another article. You can find many articles, and there's another one that has over 32 different types. But just think about how many stars there are out there. Okay, so that's how many different star seed types there are. Really, there's infinite amounts. So you have to really find what resonates with you. So just make sure it's at least 80% that it resonates. Not everything is going to resonate, of course. There's some things that can be different because not every star seed is the same, even if they're from the same star system. So all the Arcturians are going to be a little bit different, even though they have a lot of similarities, and it's easy to spot an Arcturian because they're very calm, they're very wise. They have the 3 C's. They're calm, cool, and collected. They are very peaceful, but they are also guardians and warriors, and they are pure soul beings. They have pure hearts. They live with this philosophy of love, the whole idea of love and raising the vibration of the planet and Earth. And you might know you're an Arcturian if you're somebody that always known that this is not a ground that you stand on. This is an actual living being that we are walking on. And if that's something that's never slipped your mind, then you might just be an old starseed. And there's different kinds. Just find out what resonates with you. This just made perfect sense for me. it was just like ding 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 ding. Yeah, yeah, I'm an Arcturian. There's no doubt about it. There's just like so many things. I'm gonna go through all that here in a second, but the different star seed types. A lot of people have been confused because they only thought there was three different types of star seeds. They thought there was just indigo, crystal, and rainbow, but those are only the new star seeds. So the new star seeds have probably only lived maybe a couple lifetimes here on Earth, but this may actually be their first time here on Earth as well. Typical star seeds are the most common, and they have lived at least 5 to 50 different lifetimes here on Earth. Old souls have lived hundreds, thousands. Myself, thousands. I feel that, and I know that, and I remember some of my past lives. I want to go deeper and maybe even find a hypnotist if I have to, but I think I can just do it through meditation alone. I can dive back into my past lives. I can go all the way back to my origins from Arcturus, and I can remember that angelic place. And something about Arcturians is that we are very organized. We like everything neat. We like everything to have its place, so that way we can always work efficiently. And it's keeping our mind organized, and that just it affects our entire health and everything. We have to stay organized, otherwise, it just no, we cannot. Like we're very mathematical, logical, and strategical beings. If you are very good at puzzles, you might be an Arcturian. If you love a challenge, if you love math, then you might be an Arcturian. When I was young, I figured out how to square root without anybody telling me how. It took me about an hour or 2 hours to really figure it out, and I was racking my brain. But I love puzzles, so I was trying to figure it out. Just like the same way I put this whole puzzle of life and the universe together, I had to figure it out. So my teacher gave me this extra credit work. It's like a crossword puzzle, but with math, and you have to basically get all the numbers there, and they have to all add up perfectly. And if you get one thing wrong, it messes the whole thing up. I didn't even know what square root was. I just see that little two, and I had to use just the knowledge that I had and my common sense to figure out that this was it was more than common sense. Like I really had these numbers just going in my head, and I can do math in my head. You also might know you're an Arcturian if you have photographic memory. I used to have a very strong photographic memory. I can remember anything, numbers, sequences, colors people were wearing a certain day, things they said will never like leave my mind. I can visit the past in my mind easily. I can put myself there, and it's because we're very good at imaging and imagining. My photographic memory is not as great as it used to be, and that's because I uh, I messed around with pills and alcohol when I was really young, and I really that's the only thing I really regret in my life. But I'm starting to slowly get my photographic memory back. I'm remembering number sequences a lot easier, and they'll just stick in my brain for a long time, as long as I need them, and sometimes forever. It just depends on because the way to remember something really easy is to just do something totally random while you're doing it, and it tells your brain like you're gonna associate that moment that you did something totally off the wall with whatever knowledge you were trying to remember or retain. So everybody's a star being. Star seeds come from another star system. They're the ones that do not feel like this is their home, and they never have. They have a hard time being around people and being around popular people, and they don't care for that. They typically don't care for that. The old souls are here to raise the vibration. They're here to be the teachers, the leaders, and the guides, and the shamans. And the crystals, indigo, all the new star seeds, rainbow. I believe the rainbow are actually going to end up leading us all because the rainbow children are the youngest. They're a generation that we're raising right now. And a lot of the generation is getting brainwashed, but for the people that are parenting, doing good a job at parenting and teaching these kids right, we are going to have a whole new generation of kids who are enlightened, and these are the rainbow children, and they will lead the way. We will go back to the way things were in Lemuria when the children were in charge. They were the ones that made the decisions. They were the wiser ones. And a lot of the times that's how it is. You gotta, because we forget these things when we're a kid. Like a lot of the things we know when we're a kid, like those lessons need to stay with us because they're so tried and true. But we often forget, we lose connection to all of that. And that's just because we're like forced to be an adult and start adulting as soon as we're like 18. Even sometimes even sooner. I started working when I was 15. I didn't go to college or anything. I was just had to work. We didn't have money. So that's the way it was. But besides the point. Now you could also be a light worker starseed. I'm actually a few different starseeds. My main origins is Arcturus, but I am a light worker. I'm an alchemist. If you're a light worker, you're basically an alchemist. You can turn darkness into light. You can transmute any type of energy into whatever you want. And that's just understanding how energy works. And light workers typically have a strong bond with nature and animals. And they may even be able to communicate with animals, or they just have a strong connection that even some of the aggressive animals take to them kindly. Like for me, I've had animals that were aggressive with other people, but they love me. They just love my energy, especially because it's calm. And the Arcturians were actually a race of blue beings. They were blue, mostly blue, maybe bluish green, some of them. But that's why my aura is actually blue, and why people come to me is because they sense that energy, that calming energy, and they feel comfortable around me. Some people just come up to me and start talking about just their random problems, and I don't even. I'm just like, okay, I'm just listening. Not really like. Um, Sorry to hear that. um, I'll try to offer something if I can, but people. What I'm saying is like people will just come up to me randomly and start spilling all of their baggage onto me, and I think it's just because they feel comfortable doing that. They see my, they don't see my blue aura, but they feel it. You can feel it no matter who you are. But some people can actually see auras, and I've had someone see my aura, and it was blue. And then a few moments later, we used this machine to check my aura as well, and it was blue. She was right. She was also very clairvoyant, very super powerful psychic. I didn't even pay her to do any readings on me. As soon as I walked into this crystal shop, she just started um, getting all of these downloads from me, from my energy. And it was pretty wicked. It was the first time I ever went to a metaphysical store. Okay, I'm going to have to make a second part because my phone's going to cut me off here in a second. Tune in for part 2. Love you all. Subscribe, like, you know the jig.